Welcome to Lights, Camera, Action. My name is Francesca Rivetti, and first of all, I want to say thank you to Ben Madel for creating this awesome platform and also inviting me to talk about one of my passions in our industry, and that is doing photo shoots. I'm based in Philly. I'm not from Philly. You may have guessed that I am from the UK. Born and raised in the UK, started my career in Peterborough, made my way over to the States with an international product company called Graham Webb International, all over the country, endorsing the products via my technical talent. I grew with the company, especially in the area of creating photo shoots, creating collections for our group to inspire them and motivate them and carry on the message. I'm an award-winning hairstylist. I'm a NAHA winner. In the US, that stands for North American Hairdressers Award, and it's created by the Professional Beauty Industry, which is a non-profit association. Think of the Oscars. I am a 5-time nominee and 1-time winner, and the competition is all entered via photo shoots, which is another reason why I love doing my photo shoot, because I love coming up with a collection and then it's here. And then next thing is it's in your hands and you're making it and creating it. The next thing is it's the day of the photo shoot and everybody's on a high. And then you see it in print, you see it in magazines. Hopefully you get a nomination with it as well. But where do we start and how do we start? I'm a hairstylist. I work behind the chair. I'm also a salon owner. So I know what it's like to work behind the chair and, build up your clientele. I'm going to start jumping in with lights, camera, action. A picture speaks 1,000 words. What I love about when I see my work in print, it always gives me a high, no matter how many times I see it, especially if you get cover. If you get the cover, it's so gratifying. It's great to keep these magazines in your waiting area or wherever your clients are reading, because why not? It's great to boast about what you're doing, and clients love it. They love to be part of that journey as well. So your photograph speaks volumes. Why do you or would you like to create a photo shoot? I mean, that's a totally open-ended question, and there are many answers. So let's step into the salon realm. Well, first of all, I believe in promoting your own salon work. I think it's great if you have your own work adorning your salon walls, and also create a portfolio on your social media platforms, because today my social media platform acts as my business card. And that when I'm out and about scouting models or talking to a potential new client, I can say, hey, this is who I am. Open up your social media. They can see you're legit. They can see your work. So we talked about the social media. There's so many platforms that you can live with your work. I will recommend, though, don't use your main platform to post photos of your doggy or your babies or what you did this weekend. That distracts from your hair vibe. I would suggest that you can use this for your stories, they do last 24 hours, where anything you put on your wall, your post, is there indefinitely until you decide to remove it. So look at your grid on your social media, and I'm just going to use Instagram as an example. Look at that as your portfolio, like a photo album. If you were going to open your photo album, you're going to see A, B, C, D, and so on. So definitely make your social media page work for you. Some people even have a second page. They keep one just for their work and then also one for private stuff. Try and keep your post, your wall, clear of anything other than what you're passionate about. Now, what you're passionate about really depends on each individual. Like, I'm passionate about geometric haircuts. I'm passionate about hair color. I'm passionate about photo shoots. I only post work that resonates with who I am as a hair artist. If you're passionate about barbering, or you're passionate about bridal work, or you're a balayage specialist, then post those images. because then you're going to create that awesome portfolio that people can look at, and you're going to attract the clientele that you're passionate about. So I hope these little tidbits help you along the way. If, for instance, you love doing more classic geometric haircuts, but you only maybe have 5 clients, let's say, post more of that and less of the other stuff. I'm not saying don't post the other stuff, but maybe post less of it, because it is your portfolio, it's your business card. You can open that up wherever you go globally, and I think it's awesome to be able to do that. So here are a few things if you don't already have these, and that is to get yourself a ring light, which I have right in front of me. Also, you'll see on the wall over here, you'll see that I have, this is a dead wall, and it's a wall that I don't really use at part, so double-sided. So it's dark on one side for obvious reasons. If I'm doing blonde hair, I would switch it around and use the dark, because we know that blonde pops. And also I would turn it around, dark hair on the light side. It folds up, so it's great. You can take it around with you. It's portable, and I love that. If you don't have access, all these are available on Amazon, by the way. So you need like a ring light, you need something that will give a nice clean background to work on. And that's really what you need. If you don't have enough wall space, maybe you've got a closet that's not doing much. So that you can open that closet, because remember, when we're doing our before and afters, we really should just be thinking about this much, so that we're focusing on the hair and not the whole body. You want to bring the attention to the hair. So you could even have a closet that the wall is white. You can go and get a piece of fabric, something very inexpensive, maybe something darker. Stay away from prints. Keep it monochromatic in color, and you can hang that behind you. So therefore now you've got a dark piece, you can probably put it on like a shower rod, and you can put some hooks in the wall and hang your shower rod with that piece of fabric on it. So that's another tip if you don't actually have the space to do it. And again, everything I'm using, from my ring light to the screen, they are available on Amazon. Another thing is, you know, a lot of our clients, nowadays, I mean, we've become such a leisure industry. Everybody tends to get dressed very casually. And sometimes when you've done the hair and it's all polished and beautiful, that what they're wearing doesn't really match. Another tip that I'd like to share is keep t-shirts on hand, and keep oversized t-shirts, so that if you have a client that's a little bit on the heavier side, it will work well for them. And then you can always clip it in the back for someone that's a little bit more smaller in size. I always say just go for a neutral. A black and a white is a great way to go, but keep those on hand. You will see that your work will show completely differently on your social media. And what I did last year, I have this awesome shirt that I got in London at a vintage store, and this speaks volumes to me, because it has words that I love, like hot trend, beauty, style, classic chic, something glamour goddess. You can get a nice frilly blouse if that's what you want, or something that speaks to you and your clientele. So and also what I've done with this shirt, you'll see some of the looks, I actually have put the shirt on back to front on some of them, and then the others I've put it the right way, which is the button up. And here is a blank t-shirt that I mentioned earlier as well, to keep on hand. Here are some tips for your salon and your photo shoot. So find a space for your photo shoot. We just went over that. And also have clients bring their own makeup. My clients are used to it now. They're used to knowing, oh, she may do a before and after, especially if we're changing the haircut, changing the color. They know. I would never take anybody's photo without their consent. So please be mindful and respectful. If they say no, then no is no. Before and afters. Who doesn't love a before and after? Clients love before and afters. They love that drama. They love that transformation. But sometimes I forget to take the before. I'm sure that's happened to some of you. Like, darn it, you've done this beautiful makeover. So please remember to take your befores and your afters. And sometimes what I do is I'll post my before in a story, I say, stay tuned, coming soon, check back in, that kind of thing. You're engaging now with your audience, and they're like, oh, wonder what she's going to do now. Wow, can't wait to see this transformation. So that's another tip as well. You can use your inside lighting and your inside salon, but again, make sure that you've got a blank wall. Don't have any busy wallpaper going on. That would totally distract from the hair. If you have outside space and you've got a lot of sun, take advantage of that. And again, make sure there's not too much going on in the background. When you've got your before and afters, the great thing about doing those, that nowadays we have everything on our phone, right? But I can remember years ago when I first started, I actually created an album with before and afters. And it's great as a communication tool. I've got reds and blondes, I've got short, I've got geometric, I've got lots of different types of clients with fringes, and it's a great visual to use. Say, do you mean this kind of fringe? Is this the type of red that we're talking about? And so on. So it creates dialogue, and also the visual really speaks for itself. If you create albums on your phone, you can get those photo frames that you can buy and where it's constant photographs running. I have the TV up there, and what I do now is I actually show my YouTube videos, a lot of my work. I've made some really nice reels with music, and the clients will see my work. And also sometimes we'll just watch like Fashion Week fashion, which is really fun. To before and afters. You can see now that we've got a complete change with all three of these looks. Now, the blonde one here, I don't know if you can see that from there, but I've put a timestamp. We started at 3:15 p.m. with her natural virgin hair, and then at 5:19 p.m. is where we were at. So in a short period of time, we created a complete transformation. I posted this with a timestamp up, and I got a lot of engagement with that. So again, don't be afraid to do that, and keep your page active, keep it live, keep it moving. You know, create new content every time, create new content with your clients. Last weekend, I did an impromptu photo shoot right here in my studio. This is the lovely Suji. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of a backstory. I met Suji at an art exhibition. She was there solo, and she was walking around doing her thing. And I fell in love with her bone structure. She has the most beautiful face, and she photographs so well. I went up to her and I introduced myself. I said, I would love to do a photo shoot with you. Of course, she was taken aback because this has never happened to her. And so I took my phone up, my Instagram, which is my portfolio. I showed her my work. She could see that A, I'm legit, and B, what I'm about. And we started following each other. So I got another follower, and she's become a client. So I've also gained another client. Invited to come down to my studio so we could have a cup of coffee and a chat, and she did, and we got on really well. And I think I've done 4 or 5 photo shoots with her. A couple of weeks ago, she was like my last client in, and we decided, let's just do something. And I made something up real quick, and I actually used my 16 Pro iPhone to create this look, and it came out really well. We got at least, I don't know, 10, maybe more images that I can use, like 4 or 5 different types of updos and different ways of styling the hair when it was down. So this way you're building up community, you're building up relationships with people. I do scout a lot of my models. These days, trying to get models from agencies, they will not let you cut and color their hair. So I am used to making my own wigs, because I want to portray the work that I want to portray, especially when I'm doing a collection for a magazine or a collection for submitting to a competition. Actually, the interior of my salon, you can see like a tiny bit of it right now, but you can see that I've adorned my walls with my work, and clients love it. They love to come in, they love to see your latest collections and what you've been up to. So that's another reason why I'm a big fan of doing photo shoots from behind the chair, and also doing something on a professional level with a full-on team. Your salon work with your walls, and it creates great conversation. Here's a video playing that shows you more of the salon. You may want to enter into competitions. I mentioned earlier that I am an AHA winner and a 5-time nominee, and that is North American Hairdressers Award. This is the very first time I entered in 2004, so that's how far back we're going. And I submitted it to the editorial category, and lo and behold, I won the first time I entered. So with that, I got the bug, and I entered every year. The next year I got nominated twice, and then I did not get nominated for years, but I entered every year because it gave me that drive, the adrenaline to do a photo shoot on a very professional level. And then I got nominated in 2020 to 2021, 2 years back to back in Avant-Garde, and nothing since then. But I keep entering. Why? Because I love doing photo shoots. I will always do at least 1 or 2 with a professional team a year. And then the rest I do in the salon for personal content. For my Instagram, maybe I'll blow it up and put it on my walls. And again, it becomes a conversation piece. So this was one that I won editorial, and here are a couple others. Now these are the ones that I got nominated for over the years. The bottom 2 are Avant-Garde. The top one is editorial, and the other one is contemporary classic. Photos live on. They tell a story. They don't have a short lifespan, and that is what's so great about capturing your work. Another thing we can do is submit to magazines and hopefully get published. And you'll see right here, I got covers on several magazines, and there's nothing more gratifying than to see your work on a cover. Waiting area, you can maybe write a little post-it note, hair done by our team, blah, blah, blah. Your clients will love that as well. Send off to magazines as well to get published, and this is some of our work. This on the right, the Graffiti Vita, is a collection from, I go to Italy every September to Florence, and I do a photo shoot themed week, and it's only available for a few hairstylists. We always go back mid to end of September, and it's 6 nights, and it's great. We do a cooking class with a wine tasting, and ultimately we do a photo shoot. We have 3 mornings of hair workshop, and then you have a couple of afternoons and evenings to do your thing. Friday is the photo shoot all day, and we always end up with an amazing collection at the end of it. A really nice write-up this is called the Independent Beauty Professional Magazine. It's based out of the UK, and now it's just gone global. And they have subscriptions now, so you can subscribe to this. It has lots of great content in here. And they did a feature on my program called Eat, Play, Learn. And here is the collection that Team 24 did. So last year was Team 25, and this year will be Team 26. So if you'd like to be part of Team 26, message me, and I'll send you the link to that. So a photo shoot is a production. Whether if you're doing it behind the chair as a stylist, or whether if it's going to be on a larger scale where you have the makeup, the models, the wardrobe, the photographer, hair, maybe assistants, and maybe even a creative director. When you hear the word production, I mean, we probably think more of like a movie or a music video, but a photo shoot is in itself a production. Somebody has to be the leader, somebody has to produce it, and that means bringing all the elements together, finding the photographer and all the makeup, the models, etc. It takes a team to create a collection, so choose your team wisely. I say that because if you're not on the same page, energy-wise, then the results will show in the collection. So make sure that everybody is on the same page when doing a photo shoot. There's no I in team. You may have heard this already. And here again are just a few pointers of what we're looking for: photographer, makeup, assistants, maybe makeup artists, models, and maybe a creative director as well. And here is the C word. The C word for me is all about communication. If you are on a photo shoot, for instance, I'm going to show you this. This is what I got nominated for. If you're doing editorial, which typically means you're working with one model and you are changing the look. So you're going from one look to another to another. The tip is always do what I call the crescendo hair. You start off with a look that doesn't take as much work. So don't start off with something that you're building high with lots of product, and now you've got to break it down to something soft and smooth. So I'm just going to take quickly on a quick journey of how that looks like. So this is the first look we started, and then this was the second look. Is really a cap on it. This one is what's on the front cover as well, and you can see that because there isn't much time to change the look in between each frame. You really want to make sure that you are familiar with your tools, you're familiar with your product, and definitely master your techniques. I cannot stress that enough, is master the techniques, and don't try something typically for the first time, because that may not work. You'll see here we've got the cover of Philly Star magazine, and this was back in, I believe, yes, look, 2004. And this is the collection I submitted for my first entry into NAHA and won. A little bit of extra info. This is not her hair. It's actually a strip of black feathers that I chopped up to make it look like a fringe bang scenario. So you communicate with your team, and this could be by way of creating mood boards, storyboards. We're going to talk about that in just a short while. So when I'm looking for a photographer, I'm looking at light. What kind of light do we want for this photo shoot? Backdrop. I want to check out his portfolio. I want to check out their social media and see what their work is like. Do they have a studio? That's a number one question as well, because I've had photographers approach me, they want to do something, and then they don't have a studio to work with. Why is that important? Because if they rent a studio, you typically will have to pay half for that as well. So make sure they have a studio. And also, I like to ask if they have a tether cable. A tether cable, if you don't know, is what they plug into the laptop and plug into their camera. So when they're clicking away, rather than have too many of your team on set, which is overcrowded, and I highly recommend that you don't allow that to happen, is they are a little bit offset, but they can see everything on the laptop. So definitely ask about that feature. And then also ask, who has the rights to the photos? Who can use them? And this is really a question for the photographer. Have a release model form as well, but also a team release form. So that everybody, and you write on that form whatever you want. Can they use it on social media without your approval? Where can they use it? And also they have to sign off that you can use it wherever you want, whether it's your website, whether it's social media, whether it's doing a promotion, making a flyer, so on. So you want to make sure that you've got everybody's approval and signature when you're doing a big themed photo shoot. If there's a cost, make that clear, get clarification on first on what that looks like. If not, a lot of times I work with artists that we do what's called TFP, TFF for Francesca. And it's trade for print, which means nobody gets paid, nobody pays for anything. Everybody comes on board for the love of art. And everybody leaves with images to add to their portfolio. Being in Philly for some time and being in creative communities and going to lots of artist galleries, etc., and photographers, I have gained a nice network over the years. And there's one photographer in particular that I love to work with, Jason Chen. He did the Mopper collection and the tapestry. We got nominated 2 years in a row with Avant-Garde, and we work so well together. So find your vibe, find your tribe. It makes life so much easier when you can get to that point. Models, what restrictions do they have? I'm not bothered what restrictions they have with hair, because 9.9% of the time, I now make my own headpieces and wigs. If they're coming from an agency, is there an agency fee? Are they going to do it for TFP, trade for print? Find out the release forms, get their statistics, their size, their height, their shoe size. When I am doing a model call, I have them bring heels to the model call and have them walk, just so that I can see how they walk and what kind of energy and attitude they have as well. Check their portfolio. Again, today, most of us, our portfolio is our social media page, but some models will actually have a physical portfolio, and they'll bring that and they'll share that with you. So those are a few tips on what to look for and what to ask. Plan it, plan it, plan it. I cannot stress enough to plan in advance when you're doing a collaboration, but you're doing a conceptual photo shoot versus an editorial where you're using the same model and changing the look per frame. Like a collaboration, this is, when I say conceptual, there is a theme to it. I always like to plan no less than 2 months and no more than 3 months ahead. What I like to do is start with the date on your calendar and then find the team or your team and then work backwards. Make sure that everybody, A, has that date on their calendar, and B, they don't have to leave at 4 o'clock to go and pick up Johnny or, you know, something, because that just disturbs everything. And you, especially if it's, say, like makeup has to leave, then that, you know, you may still need them. So make sure everybody clears their calendar and they're available within the time frame that you need them. I believe in setting a time frame and practice your techniques so that you can get your creation, your collaboration and collection done within that time frame. I don't think there's any need to go on till 10 o'clock at night. That's just me personally. People get tired, they get weary, and again, that will show on camera. So here, like, you know, a happy teammate is a dream, right? If we all have a happy team, everybody's great. And another reason why I like to plan in advance, 2 to 3 months, is you get them revved up, you get them juiced up. All the team is so excited. You're now creating storyboards, and they're coming forward with their ideas, you're presenting your ideas, and then you put it all together, and this is how it becomes a beautiful, collaborated, conceptual photo shoot. Always start off with a theme in mind so that you know what you're aiming for, and this is what you will present to your team of photographer and makeup models. Really, initially to start off with, it will be your photographer and your makeup artist. This is the theme, because this is now what you'll build on. With the photographer, I will ask about, you know, the lighting, and then they have time to play with lighting and send you images or things that they've taken, excuse me, photos that they've taken to share with you their idea for that theme. Now, you can create pinboards like Pinterest, but only create them as a memory, as a thought pattern. Not like you're really copying anything. It's just really to give you a little bit of inspiration and give your team an overall idea of what you're looking for. So if you're looking to do like a winter collection, maybe it's icy, lots of grays and silvers and whites and off-whites. So a pinboard really is to put together as a visual to show your team the vibe of the photo shoot. And again, you're not doing it to steal somebody's technique or somebody's creation. You're doing it as a stepping stone. Lighting is everything. You could do amazing hair, but if it's not well lit, you're going to lose the impact of the photograph. So again, that C word, communication, make sure you communicate with your photographer about lighting. Also, when the photographer has the tether from his camera to the laptop, you can then look at the laptop and you can say, hey, can we move the lighting a little bit more higher on the left, etc. So again, we're constantly learning and constantly communicating. And this is my Jason. I call him my Jason because I just adore working with him. And these two photo shoots are completely different. One is done in an old warehouse, and the model is in an old wrought iron tub that just happened to be sitting there. But he used the natural lighting through the big windows that day, and it was stunning. The other one is actually on set in the studio. So studio lighting and natural lighting are two different scenarios. The only thing with natural lighting, if you're doing outside, is sometimes the weather is just not on our side. That's the downside. You've got to pick the right time of day to get the right light for the right mood for that look. The casting call is more so for your models, where, as I was saying earlier, I would have I want to meet whenever I can. I want to meet the models ahead of time. The only time that I will meet them day of photo shoot is when I do the Italy program, because clearly they're in Italy. I'm in Philadelphia, but my photographer Francesca, who is in Italy, he sends me all the images months ahead of time, and we make our selection together through WhatsApp, and then we don't get to meet them until the day of. So that's always a little bit of a challenge, but it all comes out in the wash. So the model's role is to sell your idea. And this is where now I coach my models. When I do photo shoots here in Philly, I have them come in for coffee. I talk to them, I say, this is the vibe. I did an Audrey Hepburn look because one of my models that I scouted, she was a hostess at a restaurant, absolutely stunning. And she also reminded me a little bit of Audrey Hepburn. So I created this look. And she actually watched Audrey Hepburn movies for 2 weeks to get into character. So the model really is like an actor. You know, when an actor takes on a role in a movie, they have to get into character. That's exactly the same scenario when you're doing a photo shoot. They've got to get into character. There's nothing worse than doing beautiful hair, beautiful makeup, beautiful water, and then the model just clams up in front of the camera. Oh, that's the worst. That has happened to me. I'm sure it's probably happened to some of you too. So make sure that you're choosing the right model for the right theme. You know, maybe you want to choose a woman of color for something or not, because it depends on the theme of the photo shoot. So everything is intentional, from choosing the right model, the height of the model, the tone of the skin, the attitude of the model. Definitely have them bring their shoes when they come for their model call. And also I would definitely take photos of them. Again, ask for their permission. I would take a front and have them pull their hair in a ponytail. I like to take a profile shot as well, so you can see how their neck lineage is. And then pose. Oh yeah, strike a pose, strike a pose. Yes, I like to have some fun. Your poses are there to push your look, your image. If you're doing all the work on, say, this side, you don't want the model to pose on this side. And another tip is, if I know for a fact that I'm going to be doing this look, so it's semi-front, I don't need to spend all that time making it balanced, you doing the other side. Many times I've pushed that hair over, especially if I need more hair on one side, and it's all about that side because we're not shooting straight on, and we're definitely not shooting that side. So this is a communication you have with the model, you communicate with the photographer. Don't waste the photographer's time when have him shoot. Look, if the model keeps turning around like this, but all the work is here, make sure that they know you need to capture this side only, or maybe slightly on, but definitely not full on, and definitely not the opposite side. So that's another little trick. The models that I scout that aren't actual models, they're like regular, you know, people walking around, and I just love their look. Some of them are a little bit shy and timid. And so, again, you know, if you have that advantage of them, of you meeting them before and you can coach them, you know, like, can you do this? Can you practice this in the mirror? Like, if whatever you want their expression to be, have them practice it. So everybody's very much involved before the actual day of the photo shoot. Makeup artists. Makeup is so important, as is the lighting, as is the hair. All three literally go hand in hand. I would suggest that you make sure that the makeup doesn't take away from the hair itself, that it becomes about the makeup, but you want to make sure that it complements the hair and the wardrobe. And also on set, make sure that you communicate with the photographer to take tight, what we call beauty shots, so the makeup artist has something more focused on makeup for them to use in however they wish to use it. And now we have to prep it. So now we've got the theme, we've got the team, and now we've got to prep everything for the photo shoot. And here we got, like, if you have a creative director, that person then is there to take a lot of stress away from the lead, from you as a hairstylist. They're there, and again, the key word is you need to communicate with the creative director. Or maybe this is an assistant that can take this role. Like the assist, if somebody says, oh, where is that? Oh, I need this. Don't ask the hair artist. They're too focused. Ask the assistant. So that's pretty much what a creative director does. They make sure that everything is there that you need and everybody is communicating together. You may use a fashion stylist. The C word again, you have to communicate. What does that look like? Even if the model, we're only shooting this much, I personally like the model to be fully kitted out, including heels, because it creates a different energy. When people will shoot, they'll still have their jeans on and their sneakers on. Well, I think that just kind of takes away from it. So always, whenever you can, have them fully kitted out, even if you're only doing, this length, mid-length. Again, you would create a storyboard, a pin board to show the design. It's visual. We're all visual. We are in a visual society. Choose your tools and product wisely. I highly recommend that you don't try a new product the day of the photo shoot. You don't know what the hold is like. Is it sticky? Is it tacky? Is it slimy? Is it oily? So, I know this is common sense, but you know what they say, common sense ain't so common. So practice ahead of time. Try all your new tools and your new products ahead of time. Here is a test that we did, and I really wanted to share this because I wanted to show you how this looks on the one side. This is the finished result. And this was a crazy idea that I had, that you're in a gallery and then the model or the art, the subject comes out of the painting, and there they are. So we had to do a test, and you can see this video. We went and got a cheap frame. We went and got some 4x4 stretch fabric, because I'm on Fabric Home Philly. There's lots of fabric stores here. So I got one like 2 doors away. And then we stapled it to the frame, made a little hole, and had the model go through. And just so that we could see what that would look like. So anything like this, where you're constructed and you're using props, I definitely would recommend that you try it first before you go to the shoot. But in this case, not only did we try it in the salon, we also did a test shoot with one model to test it out before we did the actual shoot, and it came out fantastic. So practice makes progress. I don't think it makes perfect, because I think there's always room for all of us to elevate ourselves, so it makes progress. And the day of the shoot, you want to make sure that you've got everything written out, the call time, where you're meeting, who arrives at what time, the location, and so on. Everybody gets that. They understand where it is. Add links for addresses. Have a checklist. Like right now, I've got how do you want your models to arrive? Well, I personally want them to arrive with something that they can unbutton or unzip, so it's easy access. Also something that they can stay warm in if there's a lot of sitting around. Comfortable, they could bring their slippers if they want while we're working on the collection itself. Food and drink. Nowadays, to be honest with you, I feel that there's so many dietary restrictions out there that I just tell the models to bring what they like to eat, because it's really difficult to now feed everybody. At one point, I used to provide a lot of food, but now there's just too many. It's dairy, peanuts, you name it. You know what I'm talking about. Talking about making sure you get cover shots and tight shots so that the makeup artist can have something more tight for their portfolio as well. And also when you got the tight shot, you have a good chance of it becoming a cover on a magazine. So talking about tight shots, you will see the one on the left or the right, that's an extreme tight shot, whereas the other one is a full length. When you do full length, it does take away from it's really the whole thing is what you're looking at. It's not focusing on any one area. Whereas the other photo, you can see that is really, I want to share something else, another tip. And this was an editorial, it was on set. I asked the photographer, what's the next shot? So, we're just doing really tight. It's going to be the lips and that's it. And I thought, well, I still want to do hair. So her natural hair was slicked back in a ponytail. I had some hair extensions. I think I glued going 3 or 4 back to back to create a density. And then I cut a shape to create that fringe shape, and then just pinned it with a regular duckbill clip, which I knew you weren't going to see because I knew he was coming in tight, but it was enough that you could just see the hair. So that's another example of communicating with the photographer and also working quickly with what you have. And then this is like model layout. Whenever I'm entering competitions, most competitions in the US, they look for 3 images. Unless, you know, you're entering hairstylist of the year, and there are a couple more, team of the year, those are 5. I know in UK for hairdresser, British Hairdresser Awards, I think it's 8 in total, and that's a lot. Anyway, but I always like to look at it as a layout before we do the shoot, and that's how I do my work. So for instance, I always like the center one to be full on, and then the end caps to be slightly on. They can all be all on as well. Like if you look at the bottom right, this is the tapestry one, they're all full on because the pieces I made were 1D, a flat piece that sat on the model's head. So there's no way we could even do a semi-front with it. So those had to be full on. And you can see the mop collection. I've got one full on, I've got 2 full on, and then the other one is a side shot. So these are all notes to be aware of before you even start your collection. How do I want it to look when I'm presenting it as a story collection? So this is another layout. So I've got here, you've got, this is the same model, and these are wigs that I enhanced with hair extensions and did the haircuts on these wigs. One in the middle had to be sideways because of the haircut. Feed your team, make sure that everybody stays satiated. I always do provide water, and I love providing bananas. They're high in energy and high in potassium as well. But if people don't like to eat them, they don't like to eat them. I also like to write their names on the bananas. Anyone that's taken a class with me or done a photo shoot, they know. If I post a photo of just the bananas, they know, oh, she's doing a photo shoot or she's teaching a class. And then behind the scenes, it's always fun to take lots of behind the scenes. Take a lot of action shots. People love that. Take as many as tight as you can. If you're entering that collection into a competition, then stay away from showing the full look. Maybe just take your hand shot of it or a portion of it, but you're not giving anything away. But make sure that you do take behind the scenes because they're just fun. Here, some more action shots of how you can take behind the scenes, a makeup behind the scenes shot. And I'm going to show you this video so that you can see what really happened on set for this look. So you can see here we had somebody sitting on the floor with a leaf blower to create the movement in the hair, and then we had a couple of people holding the frame in place. So if you really love doing photo shoots like I do, I just love it. So this is the whole collection. I love to name my collection. So this is just called Framed. You can see there are 5 different looks that we created. And don't forget to have fun. Having fun. I mean, everybody needs to be, because you've booked this like a couple of months in advance, everybody's so excited. They cannot wait for photo shoot day. And we have so much fun on set of our photo shoots. My favorite quote is, if your mind can perceive it and your heart can believe it, you will achieve it. I want to thank everybody that has taken the time to join live. And if not, please watch this in playback. Share this with your friends. This is Light Camera Action. I'm Francesca Rivetti from Philadelphia. And if you want to join, I've got an amazing photo shoot weekend coming up in March 21st through the 23rd called H.A.T.A.E. with a dear friend, an amazing avant-garde hairstylist, Eileen Larson. She is joining me. It's 3 days. We have Jason doing the photography. It's 2 days of hair construction, building the pieces, and then 1 day of a photo shoot. You will leave with a lot of knowledge on behind the scenes, how to do the photo shoot, and I are here to help and mentor you, and you will have images to use for your social media and more. You can message me directly to find out more. We've got only a few spots left. You don't want to miss this opportunity of 2 award-winning avant-garde hairstylists coming to get that. It's going to be a blast, and it's going to be, your creative juices are just going to be bursting. I'm based in Philadelphia. If you would like to learn more, you can go to my website, francescarivetti.com. And you can also, Instagram is Francesca_Rivetti_hair art. That's where you can find me. I'd like to thank Ben for this opportunity to come on and share some tips and tricks and insights of what I go by when I'm creating a photo shoot, whether it's behind the chair with my clients before and after, or on set of a photo shoot. So with that said, it's a wrap. Thank you for watching.